This is the RCA Dome, home of the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts, who today play host to the visiting New York Jets. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Indianapolis. Along with Phil Simms, I'm Greg Gumbel. You know, injury is a part of life in the National Football League. It's no secret to the two teams here today. The New York Jets got their quarterback, Chad Pennington, back from injury 3 weeks ago. He is minus one of his starting wide receivers today. On the other side of the field, the Colts are minus 5 starters on the field today. And for Peyton Manning and for Chad Pennington, it's going to be a tough order. Let's talk about Chad Pennington first.
Well, Chad Pennington, we talked to him last night, and he says, I'm making my third start, and I'm back in the flow of the game. He brings a lot of energy, emotion to the team. He is a precise, accurate thrower, and there is something he said he learned from Peyton Manning, how to be a play-action ball faker. He does it very well, and he played very well last week.
Well, speaking of playing very well, it seems we say that all the time about Peyton Manning. This year, he's having his best year.
Well, he could be a MVP of the league so far this year. He has played so well. When you talk about Peyton Manning, he brings a strong arm, a tremendous presence to the football team. And when you always talk to the opposition, they get fired up when they play the Colts because they know they got a chance to beat Peyton Manning. And if you want to beat the Colts, you've got to stop the long pass. That's what the Jets hope to do today.
Well, one of the intriguing aspects of this game today is the coaching matchup. And for more on that, let's go downstairs to Armin.
Thanks, Greg. Well, bittersweet might be the best word to describe the meeting today between these two head coaches. The relationship between Herm Edwards and Tony Dungy dates back 26 years to 1977 when they first met at a couple of college all-star games. It grew through their days together in Kansas City and Tampa Bay. Now as head coaches, they said they normally talk a couple of times a week. Not this week. Herm Edwards telling us last night this is going to be a gut-wrenching game. The biggest reason is, he said, we're like brothers and we know one of us is going to lose. Greg?
Armin, thank you. Good friends since 1977. And as you said, they talk all the time. Only spoke at the beginning of this week before that big hug downstairs on the sideline below the game. The Colts have won the toss. They have elected to receive Terrence Wilkins, number 10, signed this week for return duties. Is deep for Indianapolis. This is Wilkins. 25. Out across the 30. A fine return out to about the 32 or the 33-yard line. There is Troy Walters, number 86, the fourth-year man out of Stanford. And it looks a little bit like a Marvin Harrison clone.
55. Greg, you're right. We watched practice on Friday, and if you didn't know that Marvin Harrison was not practicing, you would think that Troy Walters was him. Looks like him, makes the cuts on the field, runs like him, maybe a little smaller. Of course, he is a little smaller than Marvin Harrison.
From the Indy 33-yard line. Reggie Wayne in motion. Taking the pitch to Edgerrin James. Manning throws far side of the field and hits his man. That's Dallas Clark. And Clark into Jet territory and close to the 40-yard line. There's Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator of the Jets. And it appears we're having problems with the clock down, because referee Peter Morelli said reset the clock to 14:55, and there it sits.
Greg, you talk about this game, the last time they met, 41-0 last year in the playoff game in the Meadowlands. The Jets won it. The Jets looking to duplicate some of the defensive schemes that worked so well for him in that game to do again today. Peyton Manning, he's ready for it. He says, I'm going to be more precise, more direct, get up, go faster, so the Jet defense can't move around and dictate to us like they did last year in the playoff game.
Boy, everything went all the way of the Jets in that game last year, and Manning had absolutely one of his worst outings as a pro. 14 of 31 for 137 yards and 2 interceptions. Meanwhile, as you said, Phil, the Jets were putting up 41 points, led by Chad Pennington's 3 touchdown passes. Lamont Jordan ran for 2. We talked to Peyton Manning on Friday, and he said, you know, I'm not mad at the Jets because of that. They took what we gave them. I was disappointed that night in ourselves.
That's well said. He's not mad at the Jets. It's not revenge. He watched the game on Monday.
We will keep the game time on the field till the clock is corrected.
Very good. But He said, you know, he was just talking about the game. He watched it on Monday by himself in the dark real quick. Tried to get it out of his system, but like all players, he said it took quite a while before he finally got over the fact that they lost 41-0 in a playoff game.
From the 41, first down. Edgerrin James, left side, trying to cut it back and doesn't cut it back for much, maybe a yard. Mo Lewis and Sam Cowart converge. It'll be 2nd and 9.
You watched what they call the stretch play by the Indianapolis coach. I think it's kind of funny. Just watch Peyton Manning. This one's not too bad, but you got to work to get the handoff to Edgerrin James. Look at the defensive players running sideways and why it's so difficult to defense the stretch play. Peyton Manning, half the time, keeps it, and here comes the ball deep down the field. So you just can't go charging up to the line of scrimmage when you see that run.
James again breaks outside, inside the 35, out of bounds at about the Jet 32.
Now you look at this game, and everybody knows about the bad defense, or the defense against the run the New York Jets have. They can't stop it. They're last in the NFL. Of course, the Colts want to run the football, but they got a quarterback back there that's not going to hand it off 20 straight times. They want to mix it up, and if they have success running it, they won't go overboard with it. They'll continue to throw, too.
3rd and 2.
Jets not moving around much on defense, being very still.
Manning, James appears to have enough for the first down. Sean Ellis, number 92, in for the stop. You mentioned that defense of the New York Jets against the run, dead last in the National Football League, allowing 155 yards a game on the ground.
And the only reason they're 18th right when you see that statistic is because people have success and they just continue to run the football, so that will drive your average per rush down.
Manning gives to Edgerrin James. James cuts it back and shades of the way the Oakland Raiders started the game a week ago against the New York Jets.
That's what it is. The New York Jets, the defensive line should be the strength of the football team. They get pushed back. And once the defensive line gets pushed back, now the linebackers, which Herman Edwards is saying, they cannot attack the line of scrimmage to stop the running backs before they get going for those positive yards.
Another run straight up the middle. James to the 20 and close to another first down. Edgerrin James coming into this game needing 75 yards or so to become the leading rusher in Colt history all time.
And you know, you look at him, he complained, didn't get the football enough last week. Not quite the major factor of their offense like he used to. Couple reasons why. One, they have so many weapons on offense, it's hard just to give the football always to the running back. And two, you know, Greg, as you watch him, I don't think he's quite the explosive back that he was of 2 years ago. He looks like he's rounding back in form, and we talked to him, and what did he say? All offseason, he worked on getting his legs stronger, just getting back to where he was before he had the knee injury. Power. You need power as a running back to break tackles. When you get power, you're faster, too.
Against the Jets, Oakland last week on the ground. First 6 plays, 5 Edgerrin James runs and a pass here so far. 3rd and just inches. James for the first down.
Well, we talked to Peyton Manning on Friday. As usual, gives a lot of good stuff about football. Talks about how they want to be more direct. Don't let the Jets defense dictate. But he says once we get inside the 20, we have not been running the football well in the red zone. We need to take a shot. Try to score from far out instead of getting inside the 10 and looking for that little play to get you in the end zone. Here's a good spot to take a shot.
Straight ahead. This is a potent Indianapolis offense once they get into the red zone. 30 times into the red zone, 15 touchdowns, 15 field goals.
It's this simple. Look, Peyton Manning looks up. If there are 2 safeties really far back, that means there's only 7 people that can stop the run. He likes that. That means they can block everybody. So if you're going to play pass, we'll run the football. And he says, I'm curious to see how patient the Jets defense can be. Will they stay back and let us continue to run? If they do, we will.
We've had 7 straight carries by Edgerrin James. Manning throws this time for James in the flat. It's just inside the 15-yard line, out of bounds at the 14.
And what happened? Just 1 safety deep. They have the pass play called. That's the odds you want to have.
You know, you're making this game sound far too logical.
Well, I'm trying to make it logical. I'm confusing myself here. I'm talking so much, though. But there's Ted Cottrell. Of course, the first word out of our mouths last night to Herman Edwards, the run defense, and he just threw his arms up and just say whatever he wants. I don't know why. He doesn't know why. He's so tired of talking about it. There's not much he can say.
This Jet defense would like to stop someone on an opening drive. Manning with time. Throws incomplete. Looked like that ball might have been tipped on the way. Either Walters, who's the intended receiver.
You're right. Either it was tipped or it fell out of his hand. I could not tell. But he waited and waited, and he finally gets, and it's tipped by James Reed, number 93.
This is Troy Walters getting the start today in place of Marvin Harrison, and he was open at the 5-yard line, and this will bring on the hottest field goal kicker around. Mike Vanderjagt has 24 out of 24 this season, 28 straight dating back to last year.
Watch the move after he makes the kick.
That 32-yard field goal is up and good. Vanderjagt makes it 3-0 Indy. Peyton Manning wanted more than just 3 on the board. Sore hamstring has Marvin Harrison sitting this one out, watching from the sideline today. Colts are up 3-0, and Edgerrin James, who told us on Friday sometimes how difficult it is. You alluded to how pass happy this offense can be. So sometimes it's tough getting into a groove when you don't get your hands on the ball. He got his hands on it a lot.
He's grooving early today.
Jordan and Carter deep. And from the 7 or 8 yard line, this is Jonathan Carter. Out across the 25 to about the 27-yard line, and that's where Chad Pennington and the New York Jets will go to work. 3-0 Indy. And the Jets will begin from their own 27-yard line. Pennington's 3rd straight start, his 4th game since back from the injured left hand. Straight ahead and not much there. Rob Morris with the stop. Ron Meeks, the defensive coordinator for the Colts. On 2nd and 11, quick slant, caught by Conway. Conway across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. He'll come up out of the yard shy of a first down.
Chad Pennington, an excellent ball faker. Just a routine fake this time, all set up to throw away. 3 receivers to his left. Curtis Conway, the only receiver to his right. Another precise throw. Good concentration by Curtis Conway to make the catch after the bobble.
3rd and short yardage for the Jets. Lamont Jordan, Gerald Sowell in the backfield behind Pennington. Jordan pulls his way for a first down out to about the 37.5-yard line.
You look at the New York Jets, talking to Chad Pennington last night. He says, you know, I said, well, you back in the flow yet? And he goes, you know, yeah, I'm back in. And I think he thought when he was hurt for all those weeks, he was going to work. And then when he came back to play, that he was going to get right in there and get back in the flow. But it's just much more difficult than that. He said he had been trying to make things happen. And today and last week, just let it come to you. Read your receivers. Make a decision. Don't try to make big plays.
Pennington to throw. Going to go deep. That's wide open and caught by Jonathan Carter. Touchdown.
Herman Edwards told us about 3 or 4 weeks ago. He goes, I got to get this Jonathan Carter into the lineup more. because he's a lot like Santana Moss, is that he is very fast. And Chad Pennington, the play action fake, really catches Walt Harris off guard. Pennington puts it high in the air, and when you do that, that allows the receiver to run right to the football. Excellent job by Jonathan Carter.
Jonathan Carter makes his first career reception a 62-yard touchdown. That kick is up and through. Last week, Pennington completed a 65-yarder. This one, 62 yards. And Herm Edwards sees his Jets jump on top, 7-3. Jonathan Carter, in his second season out of Troy State, acquired from the New York Giants on waivers, and 62-yard catch. If Wayne Corbett is healthy and playing on the field, does Jonathan Carter get a chance to make that reception?
Yes, I think he does.
Short kick, Ricky Williams. And Williams out to about the 23 or 24-yard line. Let's go back to the TD.
Couple of reasons why he's wide open. Here he is, a blitz by the Colts. Watch Walt Harris. Jonathan Carter runs. He's got a deep route, first down, runs right at him and makes him stay in his back pedal an extra step or two. And once you get past a defensive back like that with speed, here comes the blitz. Nice pickup by both backs, Curtis Martin and Gerald So. And, oh, Chad Pennington throwing a perfect spiral. Something you see almost every time he throws the football. First down, though, he caught him by surprise by going deep.
7-3, and now the Colts back on offense. Manning. James cuts it back out across the 25 to the 26.
You know, to go back, and two, if you do scouting reports, which all teams do, the Indianapolis defense, probably the scouting report of the New York Jets is they're very precise. They like to be, they're very methodical. They want everything to be perfect. That's Paul Hackett. That's Chad Pennington. They don't like to go deep too often, because when you throw it deep, your chances of getting that pass completion go down dramatically. There's Paul Hackett. So they're not thinking deep, and the Jets call the right number.
Heading now on a 2nd and 8 to give again to James. And they're going to make the New York Jets prove they can stop the running game out to the 30-yard line.
Well, you know, too, that's right. You prove it. Can you stop the running game? But what it does, too, Greg, now, as Herman Edwards said, even though their run defense is bad, there's Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator. When you run the football against their defense, you get in a lot of situations like this. 3rd and 3 and 4. Now you have to convert those. Hardest thing to do in football and offense, convert 3rd downs.
Time, flips it out. Edgerrin James has first down yardage and more across the 40 out to the 42 or 43-yard line, and that'll be a Colt first down. Mo Lewis out there to make the stop.
That's something Peyton Manning wants to see get back into flow too. Edgerrin James, not quite part of the passing game like he's been in the past. Dropped a few, but today Peyton Manning looks left, Edgerrin James to the right, comes back to him. Nice catch and nice run.
So the Colts now out to their own 42-yard line.
I think the Colts just have something against getting in a huddle.
Play fake. Manning. Short pop over the middle. James. And James to the 48-yard line. Maybe the 49. Edgerrin James is a one-man band today.
I was going to say, watch him. I think they're going to get the ball to him.
But what are you saying in that defensive huddle? He's 32.
Yeah, but you know what's he complained a little last week, and that's not why they're throwing it to him. But he came in and talked to us on Friday. The body language was strong. It was good. It was positive. And when you're that way during the week, you practice good. And when you practice good, it shows up in the games.
I think this is Edgerrin James. Across midfield, and that'll be enough for a first down. You know, here's the other thing, too. Peyton Manning told us on Friday, we have not run the ball well this year, and that's something that we want to work on because teams haven't stacked it up against us, and we still haven't gotten it done. Edgerrin James going to take a little breather. He comes out, and Dominique Rhodes, number 33, the 3rd-year running back, is in.
And if you notice when you watch it on TV, Indianapolis is doing it with 3 wide receivers. Spread the Jets defense out, it's slow. When you spread them out, they become slower.
Another play fake. Manning with all kinds of time running out of it. Now throws over the middle, and he's got his man, Troy Walters, inside the 15, to the 10. Touchdown! We have a marker down on the far side of the field. And it's against the Jets.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 55 defense, penalties decline, score is good.
Awesome job by Peyton Manning. Keep looking down the field, but the offensive line gave him so much time that when you have talented receivers and skilled people, they are finally going to get open if you give a quarterback like Peyton Manning that much time.
Penalty is on middle linebacker Marvin Jones for the illegal contact. Vanderjagt, extra point. He hasn't missed any of those yet this year either. Manning, touchdown pass, number 19 on the season. This one to Troy Walters. And the Colts are back on top, 10-7. We're just under 4 minutes to play in the first quarter. Troy Walters on the receiving end of a 46-yard touchdown pass from Peyton Manning.
What'd you tell everybody? He looks a lot like Marvin Harrison. He's not disappointing, is he, Greg?
A little too much like Marvin for the Jets. Again, a short kick from the 15-yard line. It's Carter. Carter trying to turn the corner this side and run out of bounds just across the 40-yard line as a penalty marker flies. And several markers now coming. That's Peter Morelli, our referee today.
I'm thinking it's a face mask, but when you watch Jonathan Carter, too, why hasn't he been on the field a little more? Cliff Crosby gets a little face mask.
We also have a penalty back up where the kickoff took place, which may indicate the Colts were offside.
Offside, kicking team, number 58. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, face mask, number 34. That penalty accepted. 15 yards, automatic first down.
Well, he was close. The penalty is on 31, Cliff Crosby. But this will give the Jets and Chad Pennington excellent field position as they try to come back against Peyton Manning and Troy Walters' attack. From the Colt 40-yard line, the Jets put it into play, 1st and 10. Pennington gives to Martin, and Martin with about 1. Let's go back to a touchdown, which really shows the Jet defense wanting in several areas.
Troy Walters is coming across on an in cut. Why Peyton Manning stays with it so long? Look at the space in the middle of the field. Marvin Jones hits him, but Manning stays with him. But then here it comes down. Watch the defensive penalty. Marvin Jones doing the right thing, looking for the in cut, but the lack of hustle by the Jets defense is unbelievable. If you hustle, you stop big plays down the field.
Curtis Martin on 2nd and 10, and he's cut down. The rookie Donald Strickland, the 3rd-round draft pick out of Colorado. It'll be 3rd and 9.
Greg, you and I don't know how many games we've done together. I don't know if I've ever said lack of hustle. When you talk about NFL games, you never talk about players not trying and hustling. The Jets defense is struggling. You understand some of the reasons why when you don't run after the football.
And don't think Herm Edwards doesn't know it. 3rd and 9. Pennington on the move. Has time. Lofts one out of bounds. Number 81, Curtis Conway, was the nearest receiver, and the Jets are forced to punt, and there goes the good field position on that offensive thrust.
Shows you the respect that Paul Hackett and the New York Jets have for this Indianapolis Colts defense when it comes to just rushing the passer. You move the pocket because you don't want to always put that quarterback straight back and let people like Dwight Freeney get a free running shot at him.
Dan Straczynski will do his best not to let Terrence Wilkins return this one. Comes down into the end zone. And the touchback.
A lot of Colt jerseys in the stands. There should be. When you go around town, you look in the stores.
How many Peyton Manning jerseys did we see in that store the other night?
Oh, lots. But what's amazing, the rookies, they got all their jerseys. It's incredible. Everywhere you walk in Indianapolis downtown, about half the people are wearing a Colts jersey.
Movement up front, penalty markers fly. Edgerrin James, big hole left side.
Oh,
Jets appear to take the play off.
Oh, that is just terrible. It's terrible. You don't hear a whistle. You know you've jumped off sides. You better try to finish the play.
Offside. Defensive tackle. Penalty is declined. First down.
13-yard pickup on the play.
Ted Cottrell, he's got a great voice. He better start yelling. Watch him. They jump off sides. Interior defense. Good snap count by Peyton Manning. They're coming with the blitz. Watch the Jet players. That's over.
From the 32. Manning throwing far side of the field. Making the catch. And down is Troy Walters at about the 42.
You know, I got to laugh. Usually when a quarterback makes a fake, he's looking down the field for a big pass play. Peyton Manning does that. Down the field. Now, your secondary receiver usually is about 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, but the Colts do this a lot. The outlet receiver is 10 to 15 yards down the field on the far sideline. You can only do that when your quarterback is big and strong.
On 2nd and 1, James will get the handoff here, pulls his way across the 45 to the 46, and a first down for Indianapolis.
Well, I watched that Oakland Raider game last week when they ran 20 straight run plays at this New York Jets defense, and almost every one of them was right up the middle. The Colts doing the same thing, and they just give ground. They can't hold up inside.
Edgerrin James, all 52 of the rushing yards for the Colts and 155 total yards already. And we're under 40 seconds to play here in the first quarter. And he still has it. Eludes the rush, throws far side, completes it. Troy Walters again on the receiving end, and he's about half a yard shy of a first down.
That was really a tremendous move by Peyton Manning to get away from the rush and make the throw on the run. Mo Lewis faked out, can't get to him. Perfect throw. And that's an old friend, Ray Mickens, covering Troy Walters.
Ray Mickens said his dad was my defensive backs coach at Texas A&M. Troy used to come and work out with us. Ray's getting kind of a workout here in the first quarter from Troy Walters. 10-7 is our score. We're coming back to the RCA Dome right after this. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back for the start of the second quarter. Manning and the Colts have changed direction. They are at the Colt or the Jet 45-yard line. And on 2nd and short yardage. Play fake. Going to go deep for Walters. Incomplete. Penalty markers thrown. Ray Mickens anxious to see who this call is on.
Well, I hope it's not on him. Ray Mickens just went after the football. He had great position and went after the catch. Troy Walters.
There is no foul in the play for pass interference. The ball was not catchable.
Well, I don't know if that's even the point. Ray Mickens, 24. Going against his old DB coach's son. The football's in the air. Oh, my gosh. I'm glad Peyton Manning overthrew it. So terrific play by Ray Mickens. Well, Greg, you talked about it. They used to work out. Troy Walters was in high school down at Texas A&M. He would come and work out with them. They go, wow, this kid can play. And he says, unbelievably, Texas A&M wouldn't offer him a scholarship. So poor Troy Walters had to settle for a scholarship to Stanford.
Poor Troy.
Yeah, poor Troy.
3rd and 1. Manning will give. And James finds tough going at the 45 and comes up short of a first down, it would appear. Brian Thomas and Sam Garnes there to make the stop at the 4th down.
And Dwayne Robertson, number 63, also gets in there and does a good job. Just don't give them. Nice job. Penetration, getting down the line of scrimmage and holding up the runner. But when you have the worst run defense in the NFL, 4th and short, teams are willing to try it against you.
Fourth and 1. James in the backfield. And Peyton Manning, looking to draw the Jets offside.
I would have absolutely gone for it if I was Indianapolis Colts. But we talked to Tony Dungy on Friday. He says, look, Herman Edwards even said it too. Tony Dungy, conservative, going to play it by the book. Herman Edwards, of course, he has a 3-6 team, said he's willing to take many more chances.
Well, Peyton looked truly upset with one of his teammates, and I'm not sure. I thought I heard him say, "What are you doing?"
They were trying to get a shift to the right side of the offense to get a quick shift, hoping that a hard snap count along with movement was going to get the Jets offsides. And you know what? It really was a penalty against the Indianapolis Colts. They lined up in the wrong formation, an illegal formation.
So the Colts use one of their 3 timeouts, the first.
Well, that was a mistake. I'm sorry, I didn't know why would you call a timeout? Move it back 5 yards and punt it.
And it looks like the Jets, one of the least penalized teams in the league. Let's see if they were drawn off or if they jumped offside.
Well, that's why they wanted to try that, so I stand corrected. Now, it's not a given this is going to be offsides for the Jets. If you're the center, you can't make a real sudden movement, jerk your head like you're going to snap the football. And that's what the officials are talking about.
34 penalties coming in. The Jets are the best in the league in that department. And that's what the Jets are arguing, that there was a head bob.
Oh, yeah, and that's what Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach, is saying.
Prior to the snap, false start, 42 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Boy, look at Tony Dungy stalking the near sideline.
Yeah, that was pretty abrupt just watching it. 42. Boy, I couldn't see it. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll stand corrected, though. The center did not do it fast in a manner of trying to deceive the defense.
Santana Moss is deep. And it bounces inside the 5, and that's where the Colts will down it. Cliff Crosby, number 31, guilty of what appeared to be a costly face mask earlier. Atones pretty well here. Back in Indianapolis, 13:55 to play in the first half. The Jets will start from their own 5-yard line. Lamont Jordan and Gerald Soule in the backfield. Santana Moss in motion, and the give is to Jordan. Left side, 10, 20. Out across the 25 to about the 28-yard line. 24-yard pickup on the play.
You put Lamont Jordan in there, as Herman Edwards says, he's the running back who can make big plays. Rob Morris has a chance in the backfield. He misses him. Nice cutting as he gets in the open field. You can cut, You got power, you got that big body, and you have speed. It is the perfect tandem with him and Curtis Martin.
The absolute change-up in styles of running from Curtis Martin to Jordan, who's on the sideline, and Martin back in the lineup. Pennington going to go deep. Santana Moss, the intended receiver. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Santana Moss was running by Walt Harris that time. Chad Pennington needed a little more air and about 3 or 4 more yards in distance. It's just speed. Santana Moss and running finally looks for the football. If it was a little higher, Santana Moss was going to run under it. I know one thing. They've sent a message. Don't crowd the line of scrimmage.
Jonathan Carter in the game, flanked to the top of your screen. Martin off a nice block across the 30 to about the 33.5-yard line. David Thornton coming up to make the stop.
You said it, Greg. Nice blocks by this Jet offensive line. Kevin Mawai gets one. Curtis Martin makes the right cut. And we've said it. When you talk about this Indianapolis Colts defense, it's undersized. They play on speed, trying to just create confusion, and then they build it. They're playing on AstroTurf. That's why they want speed, so they can be good third down pass rushers.
Chad Pennington says they are disciplined in their scheme under Tony Dungy. You won't find too many out of place, so they force you to execute to beat them. 3rd and 4. White Freeney got a jump. Let's see if he was drawn.
He was.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 69. Offense, 5-yard penalty still, 3rd down.
We said at the very beginning of the day, Jason Fabini was going to have his hands full with number 93.
Fabini's the one. Oh, my gosh. Was that the littlest flinch you've ever seen? These officials got eagle eyes.
Well, now, does the rule say it has to be a big flinch, or can it be a little flinch?
Well, yes, that's right. A little flinch is a penalty.
There you go.
I didn't say it was wrong.
Maybe the big flinch should be a bigger penalty.
Hey, you be quiet.
3rd and 9 now.
Changes the whole dynamics of the 3rd down package, though, when it's 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 9.
Pennington running out of time and goes down at the 21. White, Freeney, and Robert Mathis were in on the Jet quarterback.
It is just 3rd and 9. You have to throw the football down the field. Now the quarterback has to hold the football a little bit longer. You're worried about his speed when you're playing Dwight Freeney. So when you worry so much about the speed, all of a sudden he just overpowers you straight ahead. Good change-up by the defensive end.
There was a quarterback sack where Dwight Freeney reached right past his blocker and pulled the quarterback down. Terrence Wilkins back for the punt. Wilkins on the run at the 40. Across the 45 to about the 46, and a penalty marker falls. Appears this will be a late hit on a New York Jet.
And holding against the Colts, too. So the Colts, well, I won't get into all this. Offsetting penalties.
Oh, you could.
Terrence Wilkins, I didn't think picked the football up. He didn't see it and finally made a late rush to it. Bobbled it a little.
Down, and then Quincy Stewart with a hit right there. Let's see what Peter Morelli says.
During the kick, holding, number 72, the receiving team. During the run back, personal foul, number 51, face mask. By rule, these fouls offset, and the ball will be Indianapolis ball at the dead ball spot, 1st down.
So that's where we are. The ball will go no further than the 46-yard line of the Colts with 11:11 to play here in the 1st half. We'll take a timeout. Indianapolis with the football and a 3-point lead. Back to Indy right after this. The streets of Indianapolis, Indiana. Welcome back inside the RCA Dome. 11:11 to play here in the first half. Manning and the Colts from their own 45. Quick pass over the middle, in and out of the arms of Joe Dean Davenport, the third-year tight end out of Arkansas. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Good play action fake. You're worried about the run game. The linebackers just fly up to stop Edgerrin James. Marcus Pollard out with injury. Joe Dean Davenport, well, you got to get used to the game speed. Drops an easy pass.
Manning will go through the familiar gyrations of the line. James runs right over a jet and across inside the 45 to about the 41. Ray Mickens, coming up from the corner, was just run over by Edgerrin James, who has been most of the Colt offense here today. He has run the ball, he has caught a few passes, and he set the tempo for the Indy offense.
Yeah, I figured out why he was in such a good mood on Friday when he talked to us. He knew he was playing against the New York Jets defense. And a running back, hey, they're the worst in the league. Even if they improve, they're still not going to be very good. So Edgerrin James taking advantage of a very good situation.
James 65 yards so far. Manning steps up, throw it, complete inside the 20-yard line. Troy Walters once again on the receiving end.
Well, when you're worried about stopping the run so much, Troy Walters just gets down the field and not one Jet defender touches him. There's tremendous space between the corner, Ray Mickens, and the safeties in the back. Look, nobody touches him. Nice fake to the inside with just looking in there, and that creates a little more room for Peyton Manning to throw the ball. Boy, Troy Walters, Peyton Manning said, look, this is a good player. But we have Marvin Harrison, we have Reggie Wayne, #1 draft picks. Hard for him to get into the game. This is a big opportunity, which he is taking advantage of.
Manning to throw on first down. Underneath, complete to Wayne. Wayne inside the 5 to about the 3 and a first down.
When you have 3 wide receivers out on the field, you spread this Jets defense out. They just do not move well in space. From the outside, Peyton Manning, terrific protection. Look how much space Reggie Wayne has. Once he catches it, makes a little move and picks up a lot of extra yards.
First and goal. Manning shovel pass to James for maybe a yard. And it'll be 2nd and goal.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be too cute. I love deceptive plays on the goal line. In other words, fool the defense, the shovel pass, do things they're not ready for. But when you are just running them over physically, you got the ball, 1st and goal from the 2-yard line, don't take a chance.
This time, James, I formation behind Detron Smith. He gets the football, pulls his way to the goal line, and is stopped short.
I think he got over underneath the pile, but the officials couldn't see him. I thought you were going to ask me, well, how could you see that from here?
Biting my tongue.
Bite it. But this is it. Power, Detron Smith. Watch Edgerrin James. Watch him. Oh, shoot, we cut it too short.
This one won't be cut short.
All right. Well, this is what the officials saw. Okay, he was short.
James and Smith in the backfield on 3rd and goal. James tripped up before he got to the goal line. Colts are looking for a touchdown call that has not come.
Marvin Jones, what a job he did that time. He just penetrated into the backfield so fast. Edgerrin James did a terrific job of just getting back to where the football is now. Just tripped him up. Good lead block, but that's what you got to do on the goal line if you're the defensive players. You've got to take a chance, try to get in the backfield.
4th and goal.
A pass will be a gimme.
Edgerrin James, touchdown.
And so is the run. Excellent job by the Colts offensive line.
3rd rushing touchdown of the year for Edgerrin James.
Boy, the whole left side. Jeff Saturday, Rick DeMoline, McCall Freitas.
So Vanderjagt comes on to try to add the extra point. That would make it a 10-point lead for Indianapolis. And he does. 6:41 to play in the first half. Edgerrin James pulls over from a half-yard out. Colts by 10. 88 total yards for Edgerrin James today, including the 1-yard touchdown run that has Indianapolis on top 17-7. The kick. This will be Carter from the 5. 25. But not much further. So Pennington and the New York Jet offense will go back to work, trying to chew into a 10-point deficit.
Yeah, I think I heard Boomer say it really pained him to pick against his Bengals.
Pass to Santana Moss on the far side of the field, and he is out to about the 34-yard line.
Jets offense really needs to get in rhythm, get going, make the Colts defense start guessing what they're going to do, but probably more importantly, to keep their defense off the field.
Minutes to play. Martin cut back. Nice job. First down out to about the 39-yard line.
You know, Greg, it was really interesting last night talking to Chad Pennington and getting used to having that emotional state of mind that you have when you're a starting quarterback, getting back in that groove. And he said he got back. I think this is only natural. He was excited to be back in the starting lineup, so he was just trying to be the guy that everybody thinks he should be, making those big plays. And he says, Paul Hackett sat him down at the Giant game 2 weeks ago and said, look, you're trying to do too much. Just let it come to you. Read your pass progression. Take what they give you, and you'll be fine. He did that last week, and he played very well.
We have a penalty marker on that last carry.
Holding. Number 68. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Kevin Mawai, the center, and another penalty on the least penalized team in the league, the New York Jets.
Well, Kevin Mawai before the game was talking to the umpire, Garth DeFelice, and putting his arm around him and patting him and trying to butter him up, but it didn't help.
I thought it was interesting when Chad Pennington said he has really less to do now, decision-wise, than he did when he was in college.
Yeah, it really was. In college, they just let him do everything. But up here, they're very precise, especially Paul Hackett. And it's when he does it, he said, you got to be disciplined. But when he's precise, is when he plays his best.
First and 20. Pennington, this side. Sold with the reception out to the 50-yard line and a first down. First and 20, they pick up 21 yards in the first down.
Nice catch by Gerald So. Good job of reloading by Chad Pennington. He was looking down the field, and when he reloaded the football, he lost it a little. That's why the throw was high, but a good catch by the fullback, Gerald So.
So the ball now just nosed over into Colt territory at the 49-yard line. Pennington, 100 yards throwing on the day. inside the 35-yard line. It is another first down for the New York Jets. The Denver Broncos trying to stay within shouting distance of the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West. 15-yard gainer by Curtis Martin, and now the double pass. Lamont Jordan threw it short, almost intercepted, and we have a penalty marker down. Mike Doss had it, and he knows it. Lamont Jordan just looked a little hesitant on the throw.
Personal foul. Leg whip. 69 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Jason Fabini, the guilty party.
Big penalties by the New York Jets. Greg, you're right. Mike Doss was very disciplined, stayed back, didn't come running up to try to tackle the receiver, Lamont Jordan. That's why he was in position to make the interception and just dropped an easy one. We had a chance to talk to him, and here's a rookie, comes in, starts on defense from Ohio State, first-round draft pick, and he just says, look, I played 14 games in my last year at Ohio State, so he's not hitting that rookie wall like a lot of rookies do.
Straight ahead is Curtis Martin. Martin, 40, 35, and to about the 30-yard line. Brad Scioli coming back to put the stop on Martin, who picks up 18.
Nice play call by the Jets. Greg, you know it. Good block by Gerald Soule up front, getting Rob Morse. David Thornton, number 50, he comes up. Oh, he gets blocked by the tight end, gets pushed down inside. And when you start getting pushed around as a defense, that's why you see those big, big holes for the running back to run through.
And we get a timeout on the field. The Colts call a halt to the proceedings with just under 3 minutes to play in the first half, and the Jets on the move.
I don't know if the Colts called a timeout because they had some errors or whatever with substitutions, but I don't think it's done enough. When you're on defense and the offense starts just ripping you up, call a timeout, take the momentum away from the offense, regroup, get your energy going again, and maybe you can stop them.
Pennington and the Jets. Play fake. Under pressure, and down he goes at the 42-yard line. Josh Williams, number 96, his first sack of the year.
If you're playing the Jets, and I noticed this getting ready for this game, if you're playing left defensive end where Josh Williams is, always go up the field. Don't go for play fakes because they love to make the fake, have Pennington run to his right to the outside and throw that short pass to the tight end where he's open because everybody thinks it's a run.
Loss of 11 on the play makes it 3rd and 18. Third and long yardage has not been the strong suit for the New York Jets.
It's in a dome. You don't need a lot of yards.
Curtis Martin, 30 to the 25, and he'll be about 2 yards shy of a first down.
I'm sorry, Greg, but I wanted to say that because run the football is a good call. Get in position to kick a field goal.
And with that, we come up to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Indianapolis. The Colts by 10. The Jets on the move. Doug Bryan is looking at about a 44-yard field goal, and for his career, he's 71% from that distance. Going to be placed down between the 33 and 34, so officially it'll be a 43-yard field goal attempt. Kick is on its way, and it is good. Not by much, but enough for 3 points. Minute 55 to play, and the Colts lead is now 7 at 17-10. Check out the goalpost. It got in there if you'll just trust us a little bit longer. See Curtis Martin, 55 yards on 4 carries on that last drive. What killed the Jets have 25 yards worth of penalties.
Something they do not usually do. Play a good team away from home. Chances you make or having penalties against you go up dramatically, of course.
Terrence Wilkins is deep for the Colts. This is Wilkins on the run at the 10. 25. Across the 30 to about the 32 or the 33-yard line. You know, you and I thought that this kick grazed the goalpost, Phil. Let's take another look. That's a graze.
That is a graze. You know, it's like a term. I said, would you grow up on a farm? You know that kind of term? Graze, grazing.
Manning in that wild card playoff game against the Jets, 137 yards. He's already surpassed that here in the first half.
Well, what a difference. He's at home. He's in the dome. They're playing much better at this time of the year than they really were at the end of last year. And the Jets defense don't resemble the same team that he saw in the playoffs.
Manning over the middle, and that's complete to Reggie Wayne. And that's across midfield and into Jet territory at the 46-yard line.
Well, even the hint of a run fake in the Jets defense comes flying up. Reggie Wayne, very good at catching the ball over the middle.
Manning. And that one is complete to the 41-yard line to Aaron Moorhead, the rookie from Illinois.
Big receiver. Aaron Moorhead, about 6'4".
Final 2 minutes have been heaven for Manning and the Colts, and that's complete to Dallas Clark, number 44. So just like that, zip, 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 and Manning is carving up the Jet defense.
And let me tell you what, just like that, 3 terrific catches by the receivers for this Colts offense.
And Manning throws that one down in disgust. Looked like Makoa Freitas may have moved early.
Well, you saw that catch by Dallas Clark. Peyton Manning talking about him. First-round pick from University of Iowa. Is a fearless pass receiver. Peyton Manning was telling us, he goes, I even have to say, hey, look, Dallas, there's defenders out there. You got to look out for them every once in a while. But he goes over the middle. He has terrific hands.
Prior to the snap, false start, 76, offense. By rule, with the clock running at under a minute, this foul requires a 10-second runoff. However, Indianapolis is elected to take a timeout. Timeout, Indianapolis.
So that will be the third and final timeout used by the Colts. 56 seconds to play. We'll be back. Just a reminder, all kinds of goings-on around the league earlier today. Jim, Dan, Dion, and Boomer will have all the scores and highlights coming up on the Nextel halftime report. We're in this conversation, Phil, wondering whether or not a timeout, your last one of the half, is worth 10 seconds on the clock.
You save 10 seconds. That's right. Is it worth giving up your timeout?
Batted down over the middle, incomplete. And we have a marker down on the far side of the field.
Twelve men on defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I saw the extra Jet defender. I think it was Jason Ferguson running off the field. Ted Cottrell. They got to be furious. You just had a timeout. You have a timeout. You know the defense that's called, the personnel should be right. Now you give the Colts 5 yards and an extra play, saving them time.
Manning from the shotgun, fakes to James, flips to James, hits him in the back. That'll stop the clock with 48 seconds to play. Is there anyone on the field anymore who does that standing around and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11?
The officials?
No. Team, guy on the team.
Well, yeah, somebody in the team should. Greg, you can look out there if you're a coach on the Jets and go, hey, there's too many.
We have really great coverage.
Yeah, that's right. But that time, Sean Ellis gets pressure on Peyton Manning. That's what they need to do to help the pass defense. Somebody's got to get to the quarterback. John Abraham is out. That has really hurt the pass rush of the Jets defense.
Manning from the shotgun, over the middle. Wide open is Clark. 15. Tripped up to the 12-yard line. John McGraw made the stop. Clock still moving. 35 seconds to play. Colts without a timeout. Manning pumps one way, throws short the other. James, 5, still on his feet and down at about the 4-yard line. Manning just wants to kill the clock now. Oh, instead he gives it to James, and James straight ahead for the touchdown.
That was a gamble. Big gamble by Peyton Manning calling that. He knows it, but he caught the defense off guard. They're not thinking. They're not digging in to stop it. They expect him, Greg, to kill the clock just like we did.
Just before the snap, he turned around and shouted back to Edgerrin James.
Yep, take a calculated risk. The offensive line and just tough running by Edgerrin James bails him out.
Vanderjagt, extra point is good. 7 seconds to play in the first half. And with time running down and no timeouts, Manning turns around and yells to Edgerrin James. And James, his first multi-touchdown game since the 2001 season opener. Second touchdown of the day by Edgerrin James, and boy, it bears repeating, Phil, that was such a risk by Peyton Manning, because if James comes up short of the end zone, they don't have a timeout to stop the clock, and they probably don't get another play.
Oh, it's halftime, but I believe Peyton Manning knew it, and sometimes you take a risk. That was a big one, but it paid off big for him. Let's put it this way. I definitely wouldn't have done it.
On the kick, big hop, 17-yard line for Lamont Jordan. And Jordan out across the 30 to the 33-yard line, and we have 1 second remaining. Let's go back to the touchdown one more time.
Yeah, it's good job. You know, the Jets defense, it's not caught completely off guard. Sam Calvert has a chance, but Edgerrin James, I tell you what, different looking running back today. There's Howard Mudd, the offensive line coach. And really, Greg, we sensed it on Friday. We talked to him. He was so upbeat, so into it, and he knows he's been struggling a little. Wants to get back on track, and the Jets are letting him do it.
He's done that here in the first half. Chad Pennington takes a knee and will lead the Jets into the locker room where they'll try to recover. The Colts' vaunted offense on display here in the first half. Let's go down to Armin Katayan.
Well, Coach, what went through your mind when Peyton turned around and handed that ball off to Edgerrin? And I guess in the bigger picture, does it relate to your concerns about being able to slow down this Jets offense?
Well, their offense is playing very well, but that's Peyton. He had a good feeling on the play, and we scored, so that was a great call on his part.
You went for that touchdown down in the end zone. Are you concerned about being able to stop the Jets?
Yeah, we're going to have to score, you know, and we're going to do whatever it takes, and hopefully they'll keep going our way, and we'll get more points in the second half.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Greg.
Armin, thank you. That is the end of our first half with the score. The Colts 24 and the Jets 10. We're coming back with the Nextel halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
One, two, three, come on!
We welcome you back to the RCA Dome. Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms. The Colts are in the lead, and it was interesting. We mentioned at the very top of the day, Tony Dungy said that sometimes the injuries, all of those injuries that happen, can be a good thing because the people who replace those injured people bring a new energy to the team.
Well, they did, and he said they brought energy during the week in practice. Hey, look, these guys are not starters. They get a chance to start. They're excited. They want to show everybody they can do it. And so far today, Troy Walters, Dallas Clark, both important factors with the Colts offense here in the first half.
72 rushing yards in the first half for Edgerrin James. He has been the ground attack for the Indianapolis Colts.
And you know, on the other side, the New York Jets, you just got to show more passion, more effort, hustling, whatever it is, just pride to play harder in the second half, especially on defense.
Jets will get the ball first here in the second half from the 7-yard line. It's Carter. And Carter, who scored the only Jet touchdown of the day, returns the ball across the 30, and we have a penalty marker down. And Lamont Jordan walking off the field in some pain.
Offside, 27 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
So the Colts will kick it again, and we check in with Armin.
Well, Phil, to pick up on that theme, I asked Herm Edwards, is there anything you can say or do to this defense? He said, well, there isn't anything I can say to want them to make better, but they've got to start tackling better and executing better. He said, when you make the Colts into a two-handed offensive team with all these explosive plays, you're in a world of trouble, which is basically where the Jets are right now, Greg.
Okay, Armin.
You and I sound alike, though, Greg. You know that. We've been working together so long.
Practically twins.
Yeah, we both have a lot in common.
As a look of disbelief passes through the crew here in the booth.
We both have mothers. But that's, you know, that's well said. Just think about it. Herman Edwards, you're playing against the Colts and Peyton Manning. Don't give them two options. You got to limit them somewhat and make them at least, hey, if nothing else, put everybody up there and stop the run and see somewhere, maybe pressure the passer, cover somebody downfield. But right now they're doing them both, run and pass, very well.
Vanderjagt will kick this one from the 25-yard line, and once again, Jordan and Carter are deep. No offsides this time. And from the 16-yard line, it's Jonathan Carter once again. 35, 40 up the sideline. And out of bounds.
I got a question. Where has Jonathan Carter been? He is exciting. You can just tell. He has a different gear than most of the players out there today.
Some of that new energy that comes to a football team from people who aren't used to playing. Look at the numbers at halftime. 285 total yards for the Colts, 213 of them through the air.
70 yards rushing. It just seemed like more.
And they've run almost twice as many plays on offense as the New York Jets have, and we get a stoppage before we have a startage. We're going
to have to give Peter Morelli a sitcom here. He's on the air so much.
We're going to have to give the whole group. It's kind of like a sit around and talk politics. Maybe they're talking cabbage.
There is no correction to the clock.
All right.
All right. As he says in a little disgust.
Good to know. Good to know.
Good field position again for the New York Jets. They had it once in the first half. Couldn't do anything with it from the Indianapolis 45.
From the 46-yard line, Santana Moss in motion, fake to him. Pennington still has it, flips out here, and that's complete. And here's Curtis Martin inside the 30 in a tough run to about the 28-yard line. Look at the numbers from the first half. Pennington was 4 out of 6, included a big gainer for the touchdown to Carter. Curtis Martin has been running well. And Jonathan Carter had that 62-yard touchdown catch. And not a bad kickoff return here in the second half.
Yeah, the Jets offense, they got to create the emotion for their football team. They got to keep making it happen. That means, like you said, Greg, they got to just keep executing and keep their football team in the game.
Pennington has not yet gotten Santana Moss involved in the offense. Pump fake, going deep, corner, touchdown! Curtis Conway.
about that? Chad Pennington really does a terrific job. Looks to his left and just makes a little feint with his shoulders. That's enough to create space for Curtis Conway. And, oh, just another perfect spiral against Nick Harper for the Jets offense.
You know, we've made reference to it before, but without question, Chad Pennington is the leader physically, emotionally of this New York Jet team. Herman Edwards told us a couple of years ago, one of the first things he did was he took Pennington and moved him in amongst the defensive linemen.
Yeah, in the locker room. Wanted to get him around those guys. That's right.
Extra point is good. Pennington to Conway. Conway's first touchdown in 15 games. 24-17 Indy. You heard Tony Dungy tell Armin Katayan on his way into the locker room at halftime they need points on the board because they feel they're going to need them against this Jet offense. This is Terrence Wilkins from the 13-yard line. 35. Bryan to beat. And he pushed him out of bounds. Fine return by Terrence Wilkins of 42 yards.
Well, let's go back and look at the touchdown. The Jets get in a formation. 3 wide receivers, tight ends to the right. That means the Colts only have 1 safety back. Nick Harper gets caught looking in the backfield. The pump fake by Chad Pennington makes him come forward. Watch it. Just that move makes him come forward, allows Curtis Conway to get behind him, and a perfect throw again by Pennington.
Manning and the Colts in business at the Jet 46.
You get a motion going on your side. If you're the Jets, then you allow a big return.
Manning going to throw. Edgerrin James out of the backfield and down at about the 42-yard line. Mo Lewis stop there as we look at the Colts offensive leaders from the first half. Manning, just 4 incompletions, 213 total yards. Edgerrin James coming up on the Colts all-time rushing record. And Troy Walters with 4 big catches for 88 yards and a touchdown. Second and 5, James pushing forward to about the 38 or 37-yard line.
Well, a couple things here. The Jets changing their defensive front just a little to stop the inside running. Armin Katayan, he's down on the Jets sideline, just said he could hear Sean Ellis, defensive lineman, yelling at the defense, let's go, get it going. You're back in the game. Your offense is helping you make a stand. That's what he's telling his teammates.
Going through his usual gyrations of the line of scrimmage. Throwing down the sideline. Moorhead, he's got it. Inside the 15-yard line. First down, Colts.
I'll tell you what, those gyrations you talk about, Greg, it's amazing. 3rd and short. The Indianapolis Colts are so different than a lot of teams. When they look to take advantage of you, they're always looking to go down the field. It's 3rd and 2. You think they would check off to a 3-yard pass, but no. He sees the safeties back. He wanted to catch them in that defense, and he knew the sidelines were going to be open.
Another red zone possession for the Colts. Manning to the 5-yard line. What a grab by Reggie Wayne. What a catch by Reggie Wayne.
Well, listen, it's not an accident. When you play wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, you are going to catch more footballs in practice than anybody else in the league.
2nd and 2. Edgerrin James to the 2. He is the owner of a new rushing record for the Colt franchise.
And why I tell you about catching all those passes, Greg, you've seen it. They never sit still in practice, the Colts. The offense, the receivers, the running backs. When you're not doing something as a unit, they're somewhere working with Peyton Manning, other quarterbacks, coaches, catching, going over the fine little details to help them make them do their job better.
First and goal. Manning throwing over the top, incomplete. Intended for Clark. And he had a jet all over his back.
Sam Garnes on the coverage. Dallas Clark too quick on the pass.
Pass interference. 42 in the end zone. Automatic first down. Ball will be placed on the 1-yard line.
They were faking the draw. Dallas Clark is on this side. The longer he stays at the line of scrimmage, the better chance he had of being open in the back of the end zone. He's been out a little. His first game back, you get anxious. Too quick. Sam Garnes not fooled, but too aggressive.
So it's first and goal. This is Edgerrin James. Touchdown. His third of the day.
You're taught on defense, if you think it's a run, follow the fullback. Watch him. The halfback usually follows the fullback. But an excellent job. Fullback goes right. Edgerrin James goes left. And you could see the Jet linebackers were on the wrong side of the line looking for the running back.
Vanderjagt, extra point. He remains perfect on the year in extra points and field goals. It's a 31-17 Colts lead. And Peyton Manning engineers yet another touchdown drive. .10:18 to play here in the third quarter in Indianapolis. Edgerrin James, 5,492 yards rushing, and that is a new franchise record. Lydell Mitchell was the leader. Boy, you look at the number of names that have come through this Colt organization. That's a heck of an accomplishment. From the 10, here's Jonathan Carter. 25. Boy, can he scoot. 50. 30, and he's gone. 90 yards for Jonathan Carter, and the Jets get a touchdown back.
He is so aggressive and so fast. I know he's on AstroTurf, so that makes it look, makes him look a little faster, but look at the good blocks by the Jet defenders, and Mike Vanderjagt cannot get him, even though he has the angle.
On the far sideline, Herman Edwards.
He's saying we're hanging in there.
He's made a good choice today.
Wow.
I think we'll get Mr. Carter a little more active in the weeks to come. The extra point is up and good. The last 3 minutes, 36 seconds have shown us 3 touchdowns. The latest by Jonathan Carter, 31-24. 10:05 to play, third quarter. Jets jump right back to within 7 at 31-24 on the 90-yard kickoff return by Jonathan Carter. This will be Wilkham from the 6. And spins across the 25 to about the 28-yard line. Tyrone Carter with the stop. And let's go back and watch the execution of this kickoff return.
Well, there's some good blocks by the New York Jet return team. Lamont Jordan, who's back there with Jonathan Carter. Watch number 34. Looking. Finally, Mike Doss on the kickoff team. Excellent block. Takes him to the ground. And then you always tell the kickoff returners, you got to take care of the kicker. He's yours. Outrun him. Make him miss. And Mike Vanderjagt, don't be disappointed. My gosh. I'd say your chances of tackling Jonathan Carter and open the field are about 0.
First down, Manning and the Colts. And Edgerrin James, left side, off the block, 35, 40, and out close to the 45-yard line. The stretch play works almost to perfection.
Well, it does, and Peyton Manning has to really hustle to get the football, but watch the defensive linemen. They've got to get down the line of scrimmage faster. Where are the linebackers feeling behind them? Well, they don't. You can't fill if you can't make the running back even turn back. McCole Freitas out in front. Jeff Saturday, the center, cut off the linebacker from the backside.
James again. And going nowhere this time. Chester McLaughlin coming up with a stop. Let's get on to Armin.
Greg, you guys talked earlier about how much stronger Edgerrin tried to get in the offseason. Well, he had a rather unorthodox way of doing it. He told us on Friday he used to work out 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. He drove through his hometown of Immokalee, Florida, picked up some of his friends to help him rack the weights and worked out. He said, I bought him breakfast and I'd work out with him afterwards. Worked out really well. Back to you.
Edgerrin is really involved in the community down there. Does all kinds of things for the local kids. Just a place to hang out. That pass is incomplete to the far side of the field. But Edgerrin has assumed a mantle of responsibility. He is a local kid who has made good and has not forgotten where he came from.
Yeah, he does a lot. He says, look, I want the community always to be able to reach out and touch me. He does, like you say, Greg, a lot of things. He has what he calls his fun house down there where you can come play basketball. He hands out shoes, uniforms. It's just, it's a great story what he's doing for a small town he grew up in Florida.
I love the fact that he says, you know, when he feels it, he'll work out no matter what time it is. Manning from the shotgun. On the move. And got rid of it. Brian Thomas chasing him out of bounds. Manning wants a penalty flag.
Well, that was the first time the Jets defense, they tackled the running back in the backfield. They pressure Peyton Manning. So that was an excellent series on their part after the first initial run by Edgerrin James.
It'll be 4th and 12 and bring on the punting unit.
You know, it's funny. We talked about Sean Ellis yelling at the defensive players. And what did Herman Edwards say? Sean Ellis is playing well enough and doing enough good things on the football field that he can become a leader of the defense. And he's hoping he turns into that. You know, speak up, make other guys, make them aware that they're not trying hard enough or doing enough to perform like you are.
High, and Santana Moss says, leave this one alone. Bounces at the 30, and then takes an Indianapolis bounce to about the 21-yard line. We have a penalty marker back upfield. 36-yard punt. Let's see what the penalty is all about.
Holding for 58, receiving team during the kick. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Jet penalties, something that Herman Edwards is not quite used to. Jets first down from their own 10-yard line. Curtis Martin with another big hole to run through. 20, 25, 30, far sideline, forced out of bounds, just short of the 40-yard line. 28-yard pickup.
Well, I've been saying things about this New York Jet defense all day, that they're not doing a good enough job up front. But watch the offensive line. Kevin Mawai just pushes Larry Triplett 15 yards across the formation, opens up a big hole, and Curtis Martin still showing the speed. And look at that hit out of bounds, too. Jet coach is upset. Wanted an extra few yards for a late hit. Probably should have got it.
89 yards on the day for Curtis Martin. Santana Moss in motion. Pennington to Martin. Martin, left side, first down, across midfield and into Colt territory.
Well, in a day in the NFL, if you look at all the scores as the games go by, so many of them, everybody was having trouble moving the football and scoring. That's not the case here. Look at this, Curtis Martin, by almost 10 yards before the first defender can even touch him.
Historically, against the Colts, Curtis Martin averages 110 yards a game. That's over 14 games. He has 102 today. He has 8 career 100-yard games against Indianapolis. He's on the sideline. Jordan in the backfield. Pennington over the middle, wide open is Moss. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown.
The running game changed the defense. It created tremendous space in the secondary, and what you're seeing from the Jets today is the speed at wide receiver. Jonathan Carter, Santana Moss, Strickland misses. Then it looks like they got the angle on him. They cannot catch up to him, and Herman Edwards, whoo, he said his offense is clicking coming in this game, and they are definitely clicking.
The Jets go 89 yards in 3 plays. The extra point ties it at 31. Santana Moss, a touchdown in his 6th straight game. Chad Pennington has pulled the Jets into a tie. We have seen 4 touchdowns scored in the last 6 minutes, 51 seconds, 3 of them by the New York Jets, who have pulled into a 31-31 tie. This will be Terrence Wilkins from the 10. And wrestled down at about the 20 by Gerald Soule, number 33. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, they've been running the football, so here's the safety. He's up. Now you got one safety back. That's when you want to throw it. Go ahead and run it. Watch Santana Moss over the middle. Look at the space. Unbelievable. Then the speed. Turns it up. Nope. Even when you have the angle, you can't get there. Chad Pennington, excellent fake. Play calling sets everything up. You run it, you run it. The defense digs in. It's time for the play action. Perfect call. Excellent execution.
The Colts now from their own 22-yard line. Manning, far side. Caught by Wayne. Wayne to the 40-yard line of the Jets. Mickens with the stop, and here we go the other way.
Well, it's a day the offensive players are just being aggressive on both sides. John McGraw, the safety. It looks like he has a chance to break it up. Really nice throw by Peyton Manning. Down the field, down the sideline, and that's where you attack it. If they're going to stay deep, then go down the sideline so those safeties can't get out there and make the play.
What a great job Reggie Wayne did of holding on to the football. First down now at the 40-yard line of the Jets. This is James to about the 37.
Well, I was saying earlier how things change. Now it's the Colts offense, which needs to be a little patient to let their defense rest.
You actually didn't get that out in time before things changed again.
Jeez.
I'm sure this isn't exactly fun for the coaches. Under 5.5 to play here in the third. Drop by Manning this time, avoids the rush, throws over the middle, and that's complete to Joe Dean Davenport inside the 30. First down, and there appeared to be confusion right around the linebacker area of the Jet defense.
Well, you know, you don't know what to do. When it's drop back pass, you run deep. Peyton Manning, nobody open down the field. Smart, throw it short. Good catch by Joe Dean Davenport that time.
At one point, Marvin Jones had his back to Manning and was shouting to the secondary. From the 28. Stretch to the right. James inside the 25 to the 24. Let's go down to Armin Katayan. Armin.
Greg, the Colts wide receiver Troy Walters, who had such a big first half, who has not been on the field in the second half. He's got an injured right hamstring, and I'm told his return is questionable. Back to you.
All right, Armin, thank you. That's a shame. What a spectacular first half number 86 put in for the Colts.
Yeah, it really is. And their wide receiving core, Marcus Pollard, tight end, Marvin Harrison, now him.
Edgerrin James, 101 rushing yards today. Trying to add to it here. To the 21. Sam Cowart with the stop. And it'll be 3rd and 3 You know, remember we asked Ray Mickens last night when Peyton Manning goes through all of that at the line, said, what do you do? Because, you know, you don't know which to believe. You don't know if it's just baloney or if he's really doing something. He said, you just wait for him to stop.
Yeah, that's right. Don't even look. Don't pay attention. Know your job and just do it.
3rd and 3. Manning throws over the middle, and that's incomplete inside the 20-yard line, intended for Clark. Fans wanted an offsides penalty against the Jets. Especially him. He wants an offside penalty. So onto the field comes Mike Vanderjagt.
That's why sometimes as a quarterback you got to be careful. You think you have a free play and you think the defense is offside, and they're really not.
Vanderjagt with a streak of 29 consecutive field goals on the line. This one from 39 yards. It's a fake. Hunter Smith, 10, 5, touchdown. Phil, on Friday, I specifically asked Tony Dungy if he's the kind of coach that takes chances, that likes trick plays and surprises, and he looked at me and he said, no, I'm not.
Yo. Look at that. The Jet defense just caught off guard completely. No resistance whatsoever. But he doesn't mind taking a chance when he knows, I guarantee you, he knew that the chances of that working were really, really high.
Phil, I'm really hurt. He looked right at me and said, no, I'm not that kind of coach.
Greg, I've lied to you many times, so don't worry about it.
38-31, Indy. Unfortunately, I'm getting used to this.
And that fake field goal, we had a shot. Herman Edwards shot daggers across the field at Tony Dungy. He made it, and I know that's what he was looking at. Like,
how can you do this to me, Tony? After I've known you for so long.
That's right. They became friends back when they graduated college. Herman Edwards went to the University of California. Tony Dungy, the University of Minnesota. And they played in the All-Star games together. Back then, you did all three, the East, West, the Hula Bowl. Then they went to Japan. That's where they got to know each other. And they've been friends ever since 1977.
Here's the kickoff. Scooted along the ground from the 17. Here's Carter again. Carter, 35, 40. Cuts it back, midfield, out of bounds. Another terrific return by Jonathan Carter. 42 yards on the return, and let's just say that number 84 has been a busy man today. Early on the receiving end of the long touchdown pass from Chad Pennington, and then the 90-yard return for a touchdown, which really has inspired this New York Jet offense. And just now, with the big return, and he sets the Jets up at the Colt 41. Curtis Martin. You know, this crowd is yelling for defense, and I don't think there's any such thing here today.
Well, you know, you go back to Jonathan Carter, Greg. He's returning. He's done a terrific job. So the Colts squib kick it, but it kind of goes right to him in the rhythm that it would be if he was deep. He picks it up and makes another outstanding return.
Tony Dungy's wife took Herm Edwards' wife to dinner Friday night, or last night, Saturday night. I'll bet they didn't discuss the fake punt. 2nd and 9, markers fly. Is this yet another Jet penalty? If so, it'd be their 7th of the day.
Prior to the snap, ball start, 67 offense, 5-yard penalty, still second
That
down.
is the first penalty on Kareem McKenzie in a year and a half of starting assignments at right tackle for the New York Jets.
That's an unbelievable stat. Playing on the road, playing against good pass rushers, can't hear the snap count. That tells you he's got a lot of discipline.
Pennington on the move. Out of bounds at the 43. Run out by David Thornton. 3rd and 11. Pennington over the middle, too high, incomplete. Intended for Curtis Conway, and the Jets will kick.
Chad Pennington had Curtis Conway open. The pressure by his feet, just enough when he stepped up. It lets the football, keeps him, his body stays forward. When you stay forward with your body, your shoulders are pointing up in the air, and that is why the football went a little high.
We have had 69 points put on the board and not a single turnover as of yet. And 1:26 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Straczynski bounces it at the 6, and it goes out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Line of scrimmage is going to be the 3. Good job by number 4 for the Jets, Dan Straczynski. Our NFL.com poll question of the day. Who's been the most impressive NFL offensive rookie so far this season? Log on and cast your vote at NFL.com.
You know what I just realized? I just realized we're still in the 3rd quarter. There has been so much action so far, and well, I was kind of asking you a question. You just ignored me.
What a crisis on the other side.
Yeah, I see. You're having crisis up here.
Was it important?
No.
Okay.
Not if I was asking you.
First down. First down. Manning and the Colts from their own 3-yard line. There's all kinds of movement up front. 75, Chester McLaughlin was in.
There can be a lot of reasons for movement, but one of them, Peyton Manning, really bluffs the defensive lineman a lot. He flirts his hands or flexes his hands underneath the center all the time. Defensive linemen love to get down low.
Outside, number 92, in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And I'm not saying that's why it happened, but I watch him do it all the time. Defensive linemen like to get down low, and when a quarterback fires his fingers out and opens his hands up, that usually means he's expecting the ball to be snapped, and it lets you get that little bit of a jump. Well, he does it all the time, and if you're watching his hands, you'll jump off sides.
So now it's 1st and 5, and Manning is going to throw. That's complete. This is Reggie Wayne, and Wayne has a 1st down. Meanwhile, the Jets have committed 8 penalties today, and this was the team that had the fewest coming into the game today in the NFL. We are into the final 55 seconds of this quarter. There are the numbers.
14.
Manning going to hand this one off to James, and this one goes nowhere. Chester McLaughlin in for the stop there.
Yeah, Chester McLaughlin, he's actually made a few good plays in there today so far. But the 3rd time I've seen him make a tackle at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Chester in his 12th season, 6'3", 334 pounds out of Clemson. Over the years, we've talked to Chester when he was a member of the Denver Broncos.
Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos, Oakland Raiders. We've talked to him with all those teams.
Final seconds wind down here in the 3rd quarter. We've played 3 here in Indianapolis with the score. The Colts 38, the Jets 31. We'll return to the RCA Dome after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. As we come off of a 35-point 3rd quarter, head into the final 15 minutes of play. Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, Armin Katayan, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew. Thanks for joining us here at the RCA Dome. Manning looking at a 2nd and 10. Clark is there, 35-yard line, still on his feet. Shakes the tackle, 40, and out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Beasley and McGraw finally knock him out of bounds.
You know, I don't understand it. 2nd and 10. I was about ready to make the point. Make the Colts keep running the football to beat you. The Jets send the extra people near the line of scrimmage to stop the run, and it allows Dallas Clark to go one-on-one with John McGraw down the field. And this Dallas Clark, he just has tremendous receiving skills.
333 yards passing the stretch this time the near side, and Edgerrin James out across the 45 to the 48.
Well, there's a stretch play. You talk about it, but it just works so well. Watch the right tackle, Ryan Deem. See if we can watch his block. Oh, just takes Victor Hobson right to the ground, and that's what they look for. When Edgerrin James goes out there, if he sees somebody fall down, run right by that guy immediately, because there's going to be a hole.
2nd and 5. Underneath, Wayne. 1st down to the Jet 45.
Well, that's the play I asked Ray Mickens about last night. The Colts throw that short little route across the middle to the wide receiver to Peyton Manning's right a lot. And Ray Mickens says, oh, that is so hard to cover. Because what do? You chase them across the formation. You run into your own defensive players, other receivers, the umpire, whatever. It is hard to cover.
Manning with all kinds of time and now runs out of it as Sean Ellis gets in on him.
And Sean Ellis has done something that he's been wanting to do for a long time. He was Peyton Manning's teammate at Tennessee. He says, I never got to hit him down in Tennessee once. And I said, how about as a pro? Wow, what excellent hustle by Sean. He says, I've never hit him as a pro. But he finally gets to him, good coverage down the field, and gives him a pretty good lick, too.
You know, and you better not have hit him down at Tennessee.
Yeah, it's different. Now he can hit him.
2nd and 18. James is stopped. And Dwayne Robertson with the 1st hit.
Boy, that's it. You need somebody on defense to really help you out. Sean Ellis did it with the sack of the quarterback.
And going in a hurry, there's a penalty marker down. James dancing around and is down at about the 48-yard line, and let's check the flag.
Colts trying to get the Jets switching defense, getting extra players caught on the field. It did not work.
We have flags on both sides of the field.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal formation, offense, not lined up properly. 12 men on the field, defense. The penalty's offset, 3rd down.
Well, I was wrong there. They did catch 12 on the field.
Tony Dungy pleading his case to George Haywood, the head linesman. Dominique Rhodes in the backfield now as Manning looks at a 3rd and 19 once again. Manning on the move. Throws down the side, and it's batted down. Boy, he had Moorhead in his sights. Ray Green got a hand on it and knocked it down.
And Sean Ellis had Peyton Manning in his sights. Sean Ellis, such a different player this year over the one that Jet fans have seen in the past. He's 25 pounds lighter, number 92. Boy, does he look quicker. What a good move. Chasing him down towards the sideline. No, he didn't get, well, he got the fall on him that time.
Got a little push, too.
But he just said he feels so much better. He doesn't run out of gas as quick as he used to, and he's a better, more productive player being lighter.
Hunter Smith boots this one away. Santana Moss, fair catch made at the 12-yard line. 12-14. Plenty of time here at the RCA Dome. 38-31 Indy. Jets back to work on offense. Pennington to throw. That's complete. Santana Moss, 24-yard line. All in all, that's only a couple-yard gain. And Moss is still on the turf.
Yeah, David Thornton, number 50, linebacker, hustling outside. Santana Moss making these moves against Walt Harris and does not even see David Thornton coming from the side.
Takes a shot in the side, and I beg your pardon, that's not a 2-yard gain, that's a 12-yard gain. First down when we come back. A look at the state capitol building here in Indianapolis as night falls. Santana Moss walked off the field. Kevin Swain has replaced him. First down, Jets. Martin across the 25 to the 27. Rob Morris, the middle linebacker, with the tackle. Coming in today, Mr. Sims, is this the kind of game you expected?
I thought there would be quite a bit of scoring, Greg. Yes, both offenses. Well, I should start with this. Both defenses have struggled stopping the other team's running game. Look at the numbers on offense. And when you struggle stopping the running game, that means it's just going to open up the passing game too.
2nd and 7. Beck in motion. Pennington stepping up under pressure and finally goes down.
Good decision by Chad Pennington. If he rears back to throw this football, watch Dwight Freeney. Double team, pushed all the way around, just keeps hustling, and look what comes back to you.
3rd and 15. Freeney urging noise from the crowd. Pennington just beats the play clock. Screen to Martin. Martin, 25 to about the 28-yard line. That'll be short of a first down. The punting unit will come on.
That was a really good call by the New York Jets. Loud crowd. The pass rushes are getting the feel. Watch Dwight Freeney. Watch his left shoulder. He dips it down, gets under Jason Fabini, and is on the quarterback in one single motion. When pass rushers can get their shoulders down, look out.
Terrence Wilkin at the 40-yard line, hit immediately and goes down. Ray Green was on him as soon as he made the catch. We have 9:41 to play in the 4th quarter. 1 touchdown game. If there isn't good defense being played, it just puts some people to sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
9:41 to play in the 4th. Colts from their own 41-yard line. And Edgerrin James for a couple. Here's Tom Moore, the architect of this Indianapolis offense. An old quarterback himself.
That's right. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. His college to the boy. Look at that shot. University of Iowa quarterback. I didn't know quarterbacks got in stances like that. The uniform still going strong.
Manning to throw on 2nd and 7, and this one is complete, the 45-yard line, and number 21, Aaron Beasley, was looking for it and looking for the interception.
He read it right, came running for the football, but Reggie Wayne and Peyton Manning just executed it so well that he could not get the deflection or the interception.
So on 3rd and 5, Manning will go from the shotgun. Underneath, Wayne, midfield, has just enough for the first down. He needed 5, he got 6.
It looks really simple when you watch this, but there's so many dynamics that go into making this work. Watch Peyton Manning. He's 6'6". He stands tall, and he throws over the top. And that is a very difficult throw that he makes look easy because he throws down to the receiver. Not many quarterbacks could execute those short passes over the middle like he does because of his size and the way he throws the football. And you better be very accurate.
On first down, James up the middle. Brian Thomas, who is starting at defensive end for injured John Abraham, who has missed 4 games with a groin injury. Thomas, the former first-round draft pick out of Alabama, Birmingham. 2nd and 10. Are there enough high draft picks on this front line of the New York Jets?
I think that's what makes a lot of people so impatient. All high draft picks on the defensive line, but they're not stopping the run well.
Stretch it to the left, and Edgerrin James shakes a tackle. And all the way to the Jets' 40-yard line.
Now that's what will really upset you if you're Herman Edwards and Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator. You have the perfect defense call. They can't block everybody. Sam Garnes comes up unblocked. Edgerrin James sheds the tackler and then comes all the way down and puts his offense in a good position. Well, I can imagine what Ted Cottrell is saying.
Detron Smith and Dominique Rhodes in the backfield now on 3rd and short yardage for the Colts. Rhodes got stuffed at the 40. Sean Ellis.
Boy, Sean Ellis, we talked about, just look at him. You can tell even by looking at him, he's a different player. He looks like a pass rushing defensive end.
This is a really interesting call here by Tony Dungy.
Got to go for it. You got to win the game. You got a chance. The clock is moving. 5:58. You go down here and kick a field goal, you can win the football game. You could be up 10.
Well, what's wrong with playing the field position game and sticking the punt inside the 15-yard line?
Greg, you got one of the best offenses in the NFL. You're going against a team that's last in the NFL that can't stop the run. You got Edgerrin James. You got Peyton Manning. Is that enough?
We're going to take a timeout, and I'm going to think about it. 5:36 to play in the 4th quarter. We'll be back. 5:36 to play in the 4th quarter. Big play on both sides of the ball right here. The Colts, 5 of 6 on the year on 4th down attempts. 2 out of 2 today.
That's right. They're trying to win the football game here right now. That's the decision. I think you run off tackle. Don't go right up the middle.
Play fake to James. Manning throws. Clark got it inside the 20 and dropped it. Had it and dropped it.
What a play call by the Indianapolis Colts. They send the tight end up the middle. Dallas Clark releases outside, goes up the field, wide open. The Jet defense, Ray Mickens, they're all fooled by the play call. And then Dallas Clark, we talked about him all day, doing such a good job, drops a very crucial pass.
So the Jets get the football back at their own 40-yard lines. Ray Mickens slow to get off the field. The timeout situation. Jets with all 3. From their own 40. Santana Moss in the game, in motion to the near side. Martin, nowhere to go. Walt Harris with the stop. Loss of 1 on the play, 2nd and 11.
Well, the Colts show they're not afraid to take a chance on defense either. Put them up there, dare them to throw the football. They guessed right. It was a run play. Pennington throws outside. That's Baker, and Baker to the 43.
David Thornton with the stop. Made note at the beginning of the day that the Colts go with 2 rookie safeties. Second-round pick Mike Doss out of Ohio State. Third-round choice Donald Strickland out of Colorado.
I tell you what, I think both of them have played pretty solid today. When you watch this team, even though they're rookies, you can see they are not a big detriment to the defense.
3rd and 6. Quick pass out to the side. Beck will go nowhere. No gain on the play. Gary Brackett, a rookie out of Rutgers University, was there.
Boy, Gary Brackett comes in on 3rd downs because he has the speed and the ability to cover receivers. Safe throw by Chad Pennington. Good job by the Colts defense.
Straczynski on to kick. Lets it bounce. And the Jets will knock it down just inside the 20-yard line. And Wilkins and Chris Baker have a word or two before things are finally settled.
Now, as good and prolific as this Colts offense is, they were in a very similar situation like this last week. They couldn't run the clock out against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they end up losing the football game. So all your high score and everything you do, it's just as important to be able to execute in situations like this and run out the clock.
And this football game, coached by 2 old friends, has been every bit as competitive as you would expect them to be. Across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. There's Herman Edwards.
You've got to tell your defensive players they're going to run it. You know it. They want to run the clock out. Play aggressively to stop the run. The Jets still have the 3 timeouts, so it's not do or die when it comes to giving up 1 first down.
2nd and a short 3. Manning sets Moorhead in motion and gives to James, and nowhere to go for James, who loses yardage.
Did you see the Jet defenders all running and pointing to the Colts left side, knowing the run was coming that way, and that's why they got in the backfield and make the play.
Just call timeout. Excuse me, Phil.
I'm sorry, Greg. Sam Garnes was saying it. Sam Coward were all pointing over there, and the defense ran to it, and they were right.
And for those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, the game between the New York Jets and the Indianapolis Colts. Greg Gumbel with Phil Simms and Armin Katayan. The Colts lead it 38-31. We remind you that 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast.
Always. Look at the game summary. The offenses have had terrific days. No turnovers by either team. When you get in a situation like this, pass rushers looking to be aggressive, hard snap counts. This is when they work.
Third and 6. Manning over the middle. Clark, first down yardage and more across the 40 to the 42-yard line. Ray Mickens pleading with an official.
Well, Dallas Clark, to be that wide open, is going to come from this side. He released outside. The Jet defenders got mixed up. Who's got what? Oh, Ray Mickens gets picked.
That's exactly what he's complaining about. He said Joe Dean Davenport picked him. You know what? He's right. Two minutes to play in the fourth quarter, and Ray Mickens still a little steamed about a call that wasn't made. Indianapolis at their own 43. On the ground, Edgar and James looking for a block. Sam Garnes helps rack them up. Let's go back and see why Ray Mickens is so upset.
Watch happens. Here's Joe Dean Davenport. Here's Ray Mickens. Ray Mickens has Dallas Clark. Watch Joe Dean Davenport up the field. Excuse me, he says. Let me put this 6'5" body right in your way.
And he immediately looked for an official. Didn't find one that was.
Teams, when they play the Indianapolis Colts, they put one free defender in the middle of the field just for that reason. So because the Colts love to run those short routes, they come right across the middle. They're tough on defensive backs, but if you have a free defender inside, of course he can help you out.
2nd and 8. Wayne in motion. Not much there. And another timeout. And the Jets have none remaining. You saw Tony Dungy there. The New York Jets, the only NFL team that Tony Dungy has not defeated as a head coach in the National Football League.
Well, we kind of talked the game. It's tough for both coaches. They're good friends. And what did Herm Edwards say? You know, Tony still hasn't gotten over the fact they played in these 3 All-Star games together. And one of them was in Japan. They don't do it anymore for college seniors. And Tony Dungy was probably going to win the most valuable player as a quarterback. And late in the game, Herman Edwards picked the pass off of Tony Dungy's. And
he said, and the worst thing was that the ball was tipped.
It was tipped, yeah. So he says he's never gotten over that.
Now, Tony Dungy, his teams are known, absolutely known for kicking into gear the second half of the NFL season. 3rd and 7. Manning, play fake, throws deep, far side. Reggie Wayne is open, and he's got it.
I don't know if I've ever seen a team in situations, 3rd downs, or changing plays at the line of scrimmage that is more aggressive than the Indianapolis Colts. Here you are trying to run the clock out instead of just picking up a 1st down. Well, they're going to go where you don't expect them to, deep down the field. Something they did not do last week, run out the clock. Well, they fixed it this week, and they do it, and it helps them win the game.
Peyton Manning will wrap up this day with over 400 yards throwing. The 4th time in his career he has gone over the 400-yard mark.
Well, this will avenge a little bit of that playoff loss last year the Colts had against this New York Jets team.
Well, what do these Indianapolis Colts do without Marvin Harrison? Reggie Wayne comes up with 141 yards receiving. Clark 100 yards. Walters 88 yards and a touchdown. And Chad Pennington's heroics go up in smoke. The two good friends meet at midfield. The Colts improve to 8-2 on the year. The New York Jets fall to 3-7. Greg Gumbel saying so long from the RCA Dome. Our final, the Colts 38, the Jets 31. Stay tuned for 60 minutes. Thanks for joining us here in Indianapolis today, everyone. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.